Hi everybody, this is Lachi Planet from Top Tier Tiers. It's been a while, but hopefully everything looks nice and shiny and etc for our, I think it's actually been so long we can call it a return. Look, with me I've got, as usual, Tim Tom, the something or other.
Hello.
Yes, and we're trialing out a few things today. We're trialing out not only not only this new weird format where I also get to do stuff apparently, but we're also doing a new card rating system as opposed to our, playable, good, bad rating system. We've changed to an American letter grade system, which I'm going to break down very briefly in these next few slides, I guess. I've written an article about it, so you can go and have a look at that for more detail. I plan to update that article a little more, but either way, look, right now we're going with an American letter grade, like we said, A through F, but we're also going to stick with the plus and minus. So before, plus and minus was kind of like a continuum thing, like playable plus was worse than good minus, and playable minus was better than bad plus, if that so exists. And they were just kind of there, so we would have a few more ratings within our very vague rating system. Now, I think we're going to be using plus and minus a different way. I think we're going to be using them because we have a few more letter grades to work with. We don't necessarily need all these little denominators. We'll be using plus and minus to kind of measure how often you'll be using a card, how often you'll be happy to see the card, and what percentage of games, vaguely speaking, the card will be useful. So you might give a brainstorm a plus at the end of it because you're pretty happy about it no matter when it is. And then your cards like hexproof supports or um, the example I've given here is a stock swap event. Something like that will be used far less, maybe one in every 10 games, that sort of thing. Either way, it'll be growing pains, so we're going to be getting used to it as well. But for now, we'll go with that, and we'll mess around with it as we go. So onto the actual letter grades. The first one we've got is A, the sort of grade you want to take home to your parents. It's basically what we call good or good plus in our old rating system. Basically, these cards will be the best cards in the series. They'll be what the series is known for, the cards you're hoping to pull when you open it. Oftentimes, they're the cards that you want to draw at various points in the game. Um,
And not
so,
everyone can get
example,
A's, just like college.
yeah, just like college, yes. We're not going to stick to like a bell curve or anything, but there's only going to be a few A's. So I've got like Coco Chino from Gojusa, Kome, the now banned card from Cinderella Girls, Money Counter from Little Busters, and I've also I'm making a statement here, basically saying if you've got a conditionless Azza effect, the Jet Top 4 and Ditch, or a conditionless Ricky effect, specifically a Search Ricky, then I'm probably going to give it an A grade as well. Now, the next card is B. B is basically our old playable plus rating. These are usually strong cards, not necessarily irreplaceable, but they're good, and you're happy to have them in any set, and you kind of want to have them just to, get a deck skeleton together, make your deck functional, so you can start testing out the more controversial cards. So examples might be runners, powerful events, or level 3 early plays, and we'll be giving out this rating a fair bit, and you can expect to see it a fair amount, I think, because we gave Playable Plus out a lot before as well. Next grade is C, which is where you start to think, oh, I'm probably not going to get that new video game for Christmas, because this is starting to get to a point where you're not too happy with these cards. These cards are fine. They're 6 degrees, you know how it goes. I don't really know how else to describe it. You're okay with these cards in your deck. They're never going to be the first few cards you put in your deck, but they're fine. They're always fine to have as a fallback option. They're not the best in class. They're not the most efficient, but they are certainly functional. So examples might be drop searches with no other effect, cards that are 6,500 power at level 1 with no other effects, that sort of thing. Generic level X supports might get a C. Then we've got D, which is where it's starting to get really bad. This is D and F to an extent will basically be our old bad rating. So D will be basically vanillas and cards which are pretty much outclassed. So you can run these cards, like you can run a 3k vanilla, and some percentage of the time it'll do exactly the same job as a 3500 or a runner or whatever. They're never so bad that they'll actually make your deck horribly worse unless there's some other significant cost attached to it. But they also don't really do much. So we'll be seeing really vanilla cards here, like 1/0 vanillas, 2/2s that are kind of big, 9/5 or 10k, and bad climax combos, which get points docked because not only are they bad, but they're taking up space for good climax combos. So that's what we'll give these to. And lastly, F. God, I really hope we don't give that many Fs. Fs are just really bad. There are the cards that you should, under basically no circumstances, play in your deck ever. And if you do draw one, then you probably don't want to play it down either. Like, it'll actually make your deck worse to have an F in it. It's very, very rare that we'll see these, but they're here if we need them. And I've made a footnote here. I don't know why there aren't E grades. I really don't, and I don't really care to find out at this point because times are wasting. So yeah, we've got
Just a note. This part of the slideshow is meant to clarify some of the little terms and shortcuts that we use when we talk about cards and different card effects. It's
cool
not.
beans.
We don't go over these. We're not going to go over these.
That's fine.
At
But
all.
if you guys want to pause the video and have a quick read of these,
Sure. You can
that
Control F
that'll
while you watch the video to search for terms that you might be confused about, and these
wait.
should pop up. So.
I have no idea how you got that technology to work, but
Well, we're sharing the spread. They're sharing this slideshow with the video, so people can use this as a resource later. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get straight on to the actual cards. So we're starting with yellow this time. I think it might have been better to start with blue, but hey, rotation. So
we can start with blue. We can start with blue right now. It doesn't matter to me. If you want to start
blue,
with blue,
I think makes a bit more sense because there are yellow cards that refer to blue cards, but not vice versa.
Sure, let's do that. I'm gonna go.
I believe so. Anyway, I'm pretty sure one of the Siegs does something like that.
Okay, start blue then.
God.
Slide 69.
This must have taken a while to put together.
Nah, not really. But
yeah. Okay, as long as it's easy enough. All right. So slide 69, which comes to, I've got to find the appropriate thing in my translations. All right, the first card, Scattering of the Flowers, Black Berserker. So we know who these characters are, but I think we just stick to these denominations, right? No, this isn't Black Berserker. This is the runner. This is
This is the
this is
the runner.
Rider of Black. So this card just I don't think this is a very hard one to rate.
This is a TD card.
Yes, this is a B+. Does that show up?
Yeah, it does.
Neat. Yeah. So this card is it's a solid plusing level 0. You're happy to see it in your hand every single game. Even if there was a 4K with basically no drawbacks, I think this would be as good, if not better, than that card as an option. This card does come in foil. The disclaimer with this is that if you play this, you are gay. But hey, that's okay. You can pay that price to be a nuts and bolts spider. Yes. So I'm going to move on. The next card is Scattering of the Flowers, Black Berserker. When this is placed from stage to waiting room, you may ditch a card from your hand. If you do, add up to 1 master or servant you find there to your hand and ditch the rest. So this is the Chiuri effect that we mentioned earlier. It's not as strong as Azusa. I'm just going to come out and say that right now because it's just simply a worse timing. But because Azusa is such a rare thing to find these days, you'll take what you can get. And this card is not only serviceable, but I think actually quite good. And I think you'll be very happy to have this in any Apocrypha deck, because every single deck runs targets that you can grab. I think I'm going to give this one... Ooh, what do we give this one? Probably also a B+. I think this is a very solid card. It's not quite at the level of a game changer, but it's great. You want to see it every game, and I think you'll be very happy playing it.
Yeah. No
All right,
disagreement there.
next card. Cursed Plush That Makes You Gay, and the Extended Hand, Black Rider. Black Rider, that's totally a Lord of the Rings term, right? It's got a climax
A
combo.
Nazgul?
I feel like the Azure. Yeah, I feel like whatever. Anyway, this is a climax combo. When this reverses its battle opponent, if you have the book in the climax zone, this gains the following ability till the next end of your opponent's turn. So when this is front attacked, you may return this to your hand. So that's the ability you gain, and then you've got a second thing at the bottom. Afterwards, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a master, servant, or homunculus, add it to your hand. Otherwise, put it back. So some people think that this card only gets that top check when it's front attacked, but no, the syntax is not set like that. This is actually it gains that ability and then it immediately tops. So this is obviously reminiscent of Eren from Attack on Titan, or I suppose to a lesser extent Eri from Saikano, in that it denies your opponent reverses and also requires its own reverse. It's not a very good plus. Like Eren's good plus, Eri is it's fine. It does its job and it has a unique niche. This is a lot more generic and a lot worse in my opinion. I do think that bouncing back to hand is a pretty good effect, especially given a lot of decks currently run on reverse stuff in the Japanese meta at any rate. But that second plus is it did matter. I think that in the case of Every and in the case of Eren, the secondary plus, i.e. not the bounce back, was quite relevant. And as a result, this one being of lower quality makes me give it probably a less good grade. I still don't think it's a bad card. I think it is a perfectly fine card. I think Eren is a flat A, like A or A plus, and Eri is like a B plus. So I'm gonna give this a B plus as well. As to whether it's the combo you want to play, I think this is, in terms of selectivity and in terms of overall power level in a maybe a blind metagame would be the term. It's actually weaker than the Gene, which is a yellow combo that is it's a Margara combo. But if you know that your local meta is based around reversing stuff, and some of it gets so big that it's not worth walling off, then this might actually be a worthwhile card to play. It should be kept in mind that this means your opponents also have to either be tri-fielding or not playing runners, because this also needs to reverse. That being said, this is a really powerful card. It has a really powerful upside, and if you get a couple of these off at level 1, you're set for basically the whole game. So yeah, B plus is where I have put this card.
Yeah.
There are like notes.
Well, there's like a lot of level 1 combos. The grade kind of reflects this. It's not quite clear, I think. I think we'll give all the level 1 combos like this grade probably, right? I don't think there's one that's like clear cut above everything else.
I guess we're back, and technical difficulties. Anyway, look, I'm going to shorthand these cards just for the sake of brevity. People can read what's on the screen if they're watching it as a YouTube video, or they can follow along with Heart of the Cards translations or Little Archie, whatever you want to use. Anyway, this next card, True Name Release Rider, is the level 3 Astolfo. It's a early summon, with the requirement being that you have the level 1 combo, the Astolfo we just talked about, in clock, and at the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, you give 4k to something. So what this is a level 3 that will basically always stick around unless your opponent has a very anti-level 3 answer, so anti-change or anti-change bomb, anti-change to some sort of bounce. But when I look at this card, I feel like it's missing a line of text. I feel like it should have one more line of text somewhere, but it doesn't. It's just a very vanilla card with the only role being be a 14k. Like, they could have given it like runner properties or something to, flavor or something, but as it stands, this just doesn't really do anything. It's a 10k that comes down, runs into something, and then it's presumably 14k.
This would have been really good like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh,
This would have been
vividly.
really
What do you
good
mean?
2 years ago. Unfortunately, that means that or maybe like 3 years ago, actually, 3 to 4 years
3 years
ago,
sounds a bit
three
more
years,
correct.
4 years
Yeah.
before this like trend of double early plays, like cheap double early plays, started like happening.
Yeah. If nothing else, this is easy to double summon. But it
Yeah, but
also
it
means
costs
you have.
four stock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need two of these, and you need a copy of the combo, which admittedly isn't that hard, but getting two of these might be a little hard considering the
I mean,
nature of the level one combo.
the combo feeds into itself, so it actually makes the advanced summon condition pretty easy, unless you know you're at 1/6. But actually getting the copies of this, you have to rely on, well,
Other
uh,
stuff,
the yeah, like the Black Berserker and stuff like that,
yeah,
and Brainstorms. Um,
and the Chiron.
yes, yes, and the Chiron. So for me, this
Uh,
is like a C minus. I'm
C
if
minus.
you do,
Wouldn't you play this every game if you played this though?
I mean, if we do that, then every card gets a plus.
Uh, Not
Let's
necessarily.
just give it a C. Let's just give it a
I'll just
C.
give it a. I don't think it's C minus, right?
Okay, fine. I'm giving it a
Like
C.
it's
Sure.
clearly going to be impactful more often than not. I think so.
At the very least, it'll force some removal. Um, but at the same time, it also forces you to play a Stelfo's level 1 combo. And this certainly is not a reason to play the level 1 combo. It's very vanilla. So maybe a C is... I'll have to rework the plus minus system. Either way, I'm just going to give it a C here because it does seem
Okay.
like yeah, you'd play it most games and it'd be fine most games. It's not going to be anything too special. All right. So the next card is Black Assassin Killing Time. Is a 3/2. It's got 3/2 draw 2 ditch 1. Neither player can play backups when this card's battling, so you can play events. And when it attacks, you may ditch 2 cards. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So this is like a reasonable finisher. It just tacks on some extra damage, and is good when you're going for the killing turn because, well, as the name states, it's a perfectly fine way to augment your killing potential. As it stands, however, this isn't anything special. Like, this is a draw 2 ditch 1, which is welcome. This usually kills something because most people don't play event backups. I don't know, you'll probably play it, you'll burn them once, and then hopefully they're dead. If not, you might be able to muster up the cards for a second time if this card is still alive, which it might not be. Well,
Probably
I
won't
feel
be.
like it won't be. I feel like it won't be because you can't play backups. This set doesn't have any great backup counters, and in fact, I think if you're playing red blue, then the red level 1 definitely doesn't have any backup counters. I mean event counters. It is notable that this has a stock bond, but I believe that I think she's probably master trait. Yeah, that's fine.
I think she is
So
Master Trade. Yeah.
yeah, so her master is the stock bond, which is fine. It, I don't know. It's an okay card. It's okay to have like 1 or 2 because, all things considered, it is a cantripping finisher, albeit a rather low impact one. So yeah, the more I talk about it, the better it does seem. I'm going to give it a B.
Yeah.
It's like you'll use it most games, and
Yeah.
you'll be happy when you do.
Uh,
And it is totally fine. At least it draws 2 cards, or draws 2 ditch ones, so it cantrips, which is great. Right, next card, which is Battle Stance Black Berserker. It's a 4K that cannot side attack, and when this is reversed in battle, your opponent may draw a card, then ditch a card.
mm,
So this is
mm,
a active liability in the late game. Early game, I don't think it's as big a liability because, well, I don't think it's going to get reversed except by level 1s. So this is a fine turn 1 play, but it immediately gets a lot worse, right? As soon as
yeah.
as soon as you say you go to Trifield, like you play this first turn, it isn't reversed. The next turn you go Mordred, Salvage Ricky, and some other card and hit them 3 times, and then they're level 1. This card is actually just a liability. And I don't think there's many circumstances where I prefer to have this over the Astolfo runner, or the Rider of Black runner, whatever. Cannot side attack doesn't matter. It's the other thing that's liability. Giving your opponent a free draw drop is like it's not good. Like draw drop is an effect that you would in I guess less well stocked series you would literally play cards that had no effect except come and play draw drop. So this is not good. Um,
Eh,
I think it's like a D.
I think it's a C.
Oh, I don't. I think that if you ever have to play something like this late game, which might happen if you're using something like Fran, then it's pretty bad. But I'm not going to spend much time trying to convince you. I'm just going to give it a D.
Uh,
All right.
I think it being a 4K is just fine.
I haven't even gone to random matchups where opponents are still playing bombs. Because
Okay. I'm just
people still like
saying it's
people
just
still playing
like
bombs somehow.
it's not bad enough to not run because if there's a better 4K, I'll probably just go back and change this grade. But like as it is,
In terms of role, I'd rather a runner.
I mean the 4Ks are significant. Like they're different enough to where I would say this is
I don't
strictly this is
feel
like a
that.
4K. Like if I were going to equate a 4K and a runner, put them on the same level relatively. This is just like a 4K with like a downside, which may not be impactful. So C. I wouldn't give it a D. D's like
Oh,
this isn't on love. This isn't worse than a vanilla. This isn't on the same level as vanilla.
it's pretty close.
It's definitely better than vanilla, I think.
Not by much.
Well, whatever.
All right, next card. This is another Black Assassin. Active Violence. This is a 1025, so something's got to be up now. When you play this from hand stage, it's a top check. You'll put it on top or bottom, and it is a cost 0 bottom deck bomb. It's like a C minus. You're happy to have this where it's relevant, but I don't think it's anything special. Sometimes you get rid of really big, costless beaters, but other times this is a liability because you're giving your opponent a free row. I don't know. It's not that rare that you're going to have something so problematic that you need a bomb to get rid of it. And in those cases, then I suppose it is fine, but it's not something I'd call common. All right.
Everyone's eyelashes in the show are like out of control. Actually,
it's a really edgy
it's
show.
really weird to see this like child with like eyelashes like that because it's like makeup, right? It's supposed like I don't know. It's like really weird.
I mean,
The eyelashes in the show are just like really weird.
she's like several children all piled into one being, right? So maybe it's several children's worth of eyelashes.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Fjord Yggdrasilania, or whatever her name is, she's a 1/0 assist 500, and she's a self-tap brainstorm. Every time you hit a climax, you search your deck for a master or servant, add it to your hand. So this is actually a really, really reasonable card, right?
Oh, dude, ban worthy.
It doesn't have globals. It doesn't have global 500. It's
But it's
completely
tap
different.
self. It's clearly better.
I do think tap stealth is a significant improvement over tap 2, but
I think
it's not a
more.
global, man. It's not a global.
Dude,
You
still
can't make-
ban worthy. It's like the minus is that it's not a goal, but then you get a plus, which is tap self. Clearly.
The joke here is that there were several people back when Love Live was in its heyday saying the Umi Brainstorm was ban worthy because they didn't know how to play around big walls. But that's probably because they didn't have access to Little Buster 2 Souls. Anyway, this card is more than fine. You're happy to have it in every game you want it. I'm still not a proponent of brainstorming at level 0, so as far as I'm concerned, this is just a very serviceable brainstorm with a slight color requirement. Alright, next card is, oh boy. This is Black Berserker, Growling. When it comes to play, it gains power based on the number of master and servants you have, so it goes to 7k if you have full field, but it's also a climax combo. Now, I know we said we were going to give climax combos reasonable grades, but I feel like we don't have to give reasonable grades to all of them. When this attacks, if you've got either the blue pants, so the blue gate, I suppose, or the yellow stock soul, hint hint, in the climax zone. This gains 1,500 power for the turn, and then this goes to memory after it's done attacking. So,
It won't
um,
kill. Wait, it won't kill anything, right?
sorry.
Wait, will it
End,
still
end,
reverse the thing?
end of attack is after battle.
Is it after battle? Okay.
Yes. So it's not declaration of attack. It's at the end of the attacking step after everything's been done. So you'll punch something for like 8,500 or so, and then at the end of the attack, this card goes to memory. Then you put the top 3 cards of your deck in the waiting room. If there is a climax milled this way, salvage character. So it should be noted, even if this card is removed in battle, like by memory kick or clock kick or stock kick or whatever, you'll still get to mill 3 because you just do as much as is possible. And the memory thing is not part of the cost.
The mill is mandatory as well.
Yes, it is mandatory. And you can't put less than 3, you have to put 3. Additionally, you need this, I'm just...
Man, how cool would this
I'm
card be if you could choose up to 3? Ha!
That'd be, oh jeez. I'm just gonna call her Fran. I'm sick of this Black Berserker nonsense. You need Fran in waiting, in memory in order for...
The level 3 Sig.
The level 3 Sig restand, the pseudo restand thing.
Into the Fafnir or something? It's like really weird.
Yes, into a big dragon. Which is a perfectly reasonable endgame combo, but it necessitates that you play this extremely underwhelming level 1 combo. It's not a guaranteed plus, milling 3 is not actually an active advantage, and you don't ever get to keep this around for another go. So
well,
that's...
I think it is an advantage at level 1, but like, this combo is clearly just not as repeatable or usable, like, at any other point in the game. So
let's put it this way: if you play out three Frans and Riku maybe 1 card.
I mean, okay. I mean, the problem with this card is clearly just like the plus isn't guaranteed, right? If the plus were guaranteed, then I think this would be just fine. This is pretty good, actually. I think.
If it was guaranteed, this is literally just a 3-card Margaro. That is.
Yeah.
A 3-card Margaro with a crap ton of power, like, actually be a very, very reasonable combo to play. But it's not guaranteed, so you can't really rate it.
Sure, and that's the difference, right?
It's the linchpin. Like the mill is not enough of an advantage by itself. That's
just how important like the guarantee of a plus is for these kinds of combos, because you commit so much.
Yeah, you commit a climax, you commit these cards. This card goes away guaranteed. Like it's like Kamina. There's 0% chance you get to reuse it unless you decide to. Well, actually, Kamina just has to run in order for that to happen, right? So yeah, it would have been good if it was guaranteed plus. Since it isn't, I'm only going to give it a C. Just a C.
I think this is a D, actually.
You think?
I think this is a D, yeah.
I mean, Sieg is a fine card.
Yeah, but this is not.
Yeah, this is actually bad. Just the more I think about it, like, is this your plan? Yeah,
this combo sucks.
It's bad.
I would rather run any other combo than this card. Even if I were running the Sig, this is like, well, you have to. Sorry, you have to run this if you're running the Sig.
You have to have this.
But
Sig,
at that point, like, this becomes part of the Sig's evaluation, which is unfortunate. Because the finishing effect
that just drags the Sieg down to being like a C or D or whatever.
It's just unfortunate because the card's not bad. It's just that this card's bad. So
that is the problem. So this next card, Final Battle, Chiron. When this is placed from hand to stage,
Black Archer. Come on, man.
You may discard a character card with either Master or Servant and flip a face-up card in your level zone face down. So this is a new effect for Apocrypha, as far as I'm aware. If you do this, then you salvage a Master or Servant from your waiting room. So this is
pretty good.
Effect, it trades a character in your hand for a character in your waiting room at the cost of having a I guess a command seal used. You flip down one of your level zone cards. Now the problem with that is when a card is flipped down the level zone, it ceases to have any color or property. So it no longer counts as experience, it no longer counts for color, but it does still exist. So if you have 3 face down cards in your level zone, then you're level 3. You're not level 0 or anything like that. So the problem here, I suppose, is that for this to be usable more than like once or twice a game, it needs to have some way of unflipping those because getting rid of color is pretty significant.
Good thing.
There are several ways to
Yeah.
unflip them, thankfully.
Yes.
And that also means Chiron isn't even competing for, command seal space, but flipping things down. And other cards can also do that almost every turn. The only real limitation is that you can't play a bunch of them in one turn. Well, I guess that's not really a limitation. It's a deck building limitation more than anything else. So yeah, this is a fine drop salvager. You can't drop climaxes, which is a real problem. But I expect that it'll be fine in most games, and I'm going to give it a C. It would be higher if you could drop anything, but you can't, so there it is.
I think this is a B. I think the non-climax thing is like pretty much a non-factor considering that you have access to a whole bunch of other cards, the old ditch cards. I think the selectivity, the costless selectivity here is, I think, just what makes this card really good.
What do you rate a vanilla climax ditch to salvage a character?
Probably like a B.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
maybe B minus. I don't know. Probably like a B. Yeah.
It's not a B. It's not a B minus. You'd use it every game, or you'd want to use it pretty much every game. Anyway, that's my rating on it. Next card, Kazikli Blay, Vlad, answer form. When this is placed from hand to stage, give an opponent in your give a character in your opponent's front row -1k for the turn, and when it's reversed, if the level of the battle opponent is higher, and you change bottom deck bomb. So this is fine. This is like a probably a B minus, I think. You don't want to play this every game, but you want it against decks like, well, Hinologi, against like Vivid Strike, any deck that wants to leverage their early plays into a snowball situation. This can really punish them for doing so, especially if they go low on hand to do that. So I think it's a good tool for any deck to have.
C minus.
And I can respect it if you say C minus because you just don't like bombs. I just think you have to take what you get now. Before the final battle, Astolfo, it's a assist for level 3 or higher that gives it 2k. When it's placed from hand to stage, you may ditch a card from hand to salvage a 2/4 anti-damage counter. So the 2/4 anti-damage counter, the reasoning for it being 4 cost is that you get some nominal amount of power alongside.
So you can back up your jack.
This card's like fine. It's like, yeah, that's actually a function of it, right? That's actually totally reasonable.
Yeah.
If you're playing the Astolfo deck, then I really don't see why you need this. You're gonna have 14Ks on defense anyway. I guess on offense you might want this, but it doesn't seem particularly worth it. Especially if you're going to advance summon a bunch of things and then plan to play a 4-cost event. I think that's just a bit.
This might be better than the. I think this is your best level 3 assist thing.
Yeah. If we evaluate on that front, it's still just a C though.
Yeah. We'll get to some other cards later, but I think this is like.
It's
fine.
a C.
It's fine. Yeah.
It is fine. That is what it is. You play it and you ignore the second ability, unless you really need to ditch a climax for no value. Which is a play you can make, just
or if you want to run that event.
Yeah, sure. In which case, that's a fine card to just have as a one-off. Alright, next card, Holy Sword, Siegfried. When you play this from hand to stage, you may ditch a card from hand. If you do, heal the top card of your clock to stock, your typical heal to stock effect, and when this attacks, if you have a different book in the climax zone, you may pay 3. If you do, deal 5 damage.
This is actually probably like, you could think of this as a pay 2, realistically. Like a pay 2 ditch one. Pay 2 ditch one. It's like Xenon!
Yeah, it's like Xenon, except you don't, oh god, it really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Xenon once described as a 2018 combo printed in 2014.
I think Xenon's pretty fine, but...
I think 5 and 4 is actually pretty big difference.
Meh. The problem is they're just better cards than this card.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't use climax space on this. So this is like, it's like a C. Like this is still fine. You can't really get unhappy about this. It's still a C.
It's also like a stock healer. I don't think there are too many of those in any set. This might be the only. If you feel like it's relevant for your meta, like you somehow play against a lot of LB. Somehow, this might be relevant.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
It's more likely.
It is there is use for this card outside of the climax combo. Is my point. So.
Sure. All right. Next card.
This is the bond for the 3/2 Jack.
Yes, and you've definitely labeled the name wrong.
Oh, oops.
This is Reika. That's her name, I believe. She's got a 1-cost bond for level 3 Jack, and when your other character with Assassin in name becomes reversed in battle, if this in the back row, you may sack it to save that character. This does actually apply to Red Assassin or Semiramis, which is a really significant flavor fail, but either way, this does get around the whole thing where Jack can't counter to save herself. That being said, this would be more than a one-off in any deck that tried to run these sort of things, because as far as I'm aware, Jack doesn't have the best level 1 game, and neither the Semiramis. If they did, like, well, if they did, I guess there'd be some merit to playing it, but as far as I'm aware, Jack only has, like, level 2s and stuff, and a level 3, of course. So I have to end up giving this a C- for being a fine bond to a reasonable finisher.
Fine with that.
Next card. This is Heroic Spirit Siegfried. When this is placed from hand to stage, you may play the Ricky cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 cost 0 character with Master Servant or Homunculus, put it with level equal to or lower than yours, and put it on stage. So this is a Ricky that avoids any come-in play effects. So notably, this prevents Fran from getting her power. This prevents any other, Ricky and stuff from going off. But notably, the Fran Fury, the double R, does get to go off with this, which is fine. It's fine.
It's neat.
As to whether this is better than the red salvage Ricky,
probably not. But
I don't think it is. It's close, but I don't.
This is blue fixing, if that's relevant for your purposes. I think like there isn't too much of a delta between the two effects that color would not trump whichever card you run, but
yeah, I do think that I think Mordred has like a scry or something. It's not
she does have a scry effect on play. It's like a red scry effect, so you can put it on top or leave it on top or put it in the way here. Yeah,
it's not nothing. So
I think that actually makes it pretty playable in some other scenarios, but it's like pretty marginal as far as talking about the card overall.
Well, I mean, it makes it a far better card from level 2 onwards.
Yeah.
But I think that in terms of the search effects, this one might actually be better when you want to play out Ricky effects. It's just that, it's not that big a deal. I'm gonna give this a. Oh, this is hard.
Give us a
B. I think B is probably appropriate. Yeah, let's go with B. Okay, next card. Come on. Alright, Poisonous Flog, Jack. When Maria the Ripper is placed in the Climax zone, this is in the front row. Climax combo, oh god, this is terrible. Yeah, so it combos with Blue Stock Soul, but the combo does not give you anything back, it just -2Ks your opponent's front row.
Dude, this is for the sick level 0 Trifield plays, man. And you get value because this is a Clock Encore.
I think I have to give this an F. I think that including this in your deck makes it worse. I think that it's just not a very good effect. At most, you'll neg 6k,
Oh, I mean, what if
something
you
if
just
you're
want the clock
3.
on core, right?
Um, then you have to go all blue, in which case that's also a problem because a lot of your,
You know
like,
what's really sad? Your best blue, like the best blue card, level 0 card, like one of the better level 0 card, blue level 0 cards you'd be running, which is the Fran.
it does not
If
get
if
its
you if
effect.
you yeah, it won't get the effect if you if you use this card, which I find
God,
really sad.
that's
Uh,
terrible.
it's probably an F. Yeah, I'm just
I'm,
trying to be
I'm.
creative.
That's a really stylistic F. That's really unfortunate. All right, next card. 12 Paladins, Astolfo. When displaced from hand to stage.
Information.
Okay,
Okay,
so
well, is
that's
this?
not actually that big a deal. Like
Yeah,
the
it's just a
information
funny
reveal,
it's just a funny little effect.
yeah, at level 0, it's not actually that big a deal because your hand's going to change so quickly.
Well,
Um,
actually,
if
so there are multiple builds of Astolfo that can present themselves in the meta. This could be like a pretty pertinent downside of, given that this is a set that offers some like variation as far as like what builds you can approach, a meta with.
Okay, so realistically speaking, I think that this shows your opponent whether they're playing against either a normal Apocrypha deck that includes this card or a Stolfo waifu. And if it's the latter case, you should probably like collect your cards, concede the game, and then leave quickly.
I mean, it can show like what level 1 combo you're running, right? And there are some considerations as far as like how you
Oh,
want to play.
you're being actually serious. That's
Yes,
unfortunate.
I'm being serious.
Yes. Okay, fine. Look, there are some considerations as to what the problem is, but
I mean,
a
okay,
lot of
like
the time
what's
you can't
good
play.
for us is that this card just isn't good enough to play.
Hmm.
But say this card was good enough, like say the other effect is actually just like, I don't know, say it's like a Ricky or
The other
something.
effect is it's a one cost plus.
Yeah, but
That is
it's not
exactly what
that
it is.
right. But it's not like good enough to play. I don't think
Not over a runner, no.
it's not even good enough to play like in general. I think they're just better cards to run. But like, say this card, if we just say this card was good enough to play, like it's a Ricky, like a literal Ricky. Uh, is it does like how does this reveal from hand effect impact the rating, if at all?
Uh, I don't think if it was a Ricky, like a literal Ricky, it would not affect the rating. I
All
would give
right.
it an A plus.
Hmm.
Since it is not a literal Ricky, we have to start thinking about things. This secondary quote unquote plus effect is fine, but not as good as a runner. Like it just isn't. As a result, yeah, this is like a C. The downside is an actual thing late game, where
It's a pretty
if you
bad
show
top
your
deck
opponent,
late game.
yeah, if you show your opponent your hand, which is, full of all these cards that are going to kill your opponent, then they're going to know how urgently they need to assemble their game plan, which
I
can
mean, they can
change
all
things.
yeah. It could also it like tips them off as to how prepared you are.
Yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
to inform them too much. That's just the basics of, card
Also lets
games in
them know
general.
if you have any like relevant counters or anything in your hand.
Mm. I think
Um,
most quote unquote good players would assume that there's counter in hand
well, there's a
in which
difference between assuming that there's a counter and knowing that there's not a counter, right?
oh yeah, if you know there's no counter, then that is actually good information. But
Yeah,
if you
that's the point.
otherwise,
Like, so
knowing there's a
like
counter, no.
yeah, so like if you play this card and you reveal to your opponent that no, you in fact you do not have this anti damage in your hand and you're running this Astolfo waifu deck, then like that could be a bad thing. It changes how people
Mm-hmm.
play.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next card. It's Fatty. I don't actually know his name. Something
Cordis
Yugdamil.
Music
Oh yes, exactly.
Millennia.
Chords music. So he gives 1k to all homunculi, assist all master servant homunculi, gain level X in front, and tap this to put a homunculi character from your stage to stock.
Uh,
Is there a homunculi mook? I actually don't know. I have
What do you
not
mean?
looked over the set very closely. Are there like, is there an army deck or something?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Is like 2K plus level X enough to make that army deck relevant?
I don't think so. These are level ones, I think.
They are level ones, and
So
this
they're only
gains
getting
1/5 for each other homunculi, so it goes to being a 5/5, then 6/5, 7/5. Nope, not good enough. This is a F.
uh
Isn't F? No, it's also just a level X, which is it's a level X, and doesn't it also pump Sieg? Isn't he homunculus?
yes, he is homunculus.
Spoiler.
I mean, but this like no. This will only boost the card homunculus by 1k. And this is just
What?
general level assist, right?
Oh, that's not a trait
It's
sign.
not a
That's
trait.
okay.
It's not a trait.
For
It's a
sure.
name. Yeah. So it's
Okay,
not going
so
to
this is
boost
just a
a level X with
sure. So this is
some
just a level
stock
X.
charge text.
It's just a level X, and it's not a good level X, so I'm going to make it a D.
You can stock charge Sig.
Yeah, you're right, you could. That is indeed a play you can make.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's a D2. All right.
Alright, next card. Very satisfied friend. She's smiling. That's cute. When you use this is a 2/5 backup, and when you use the backup, you may pay 2 and ditch a master or servant character. If you do, bottom deck anti-change your opponents. Solid. It's like a a B, I suppose. Like you're not going to use it every single game, but it's not like going to be a rare thing to use either. I think just flat B is what I give it. Yeah, it's a fine answer to things like Vivid Strike or Hinologi. All right, next card. It's the golem. One of what's his name's golems. I actually forget
It's the
the
kid, I
servant's
think.
name.
It's the kid.
All right, sure. For each marker under this, it gains 1/5 power. When it's placed from hand to stage, you may choose either a homunculus character or Roche Frayne Yig Millennia. Is that the
It's a
anyway?
vanilla.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And put it under this as a marker. And when it's reversed in battle, you may pay 1, ditch 1. If you do, put the top card of your deck under this as a marker, presumably face down, and rest this card. This is a meme. Like this is definitely a meme.
Mm.
It is a one soul attacker that gets bigger but does not scale well into the end game. It means you have to keep playing climaxes. I think that if you play this, then you are probably doing yourself a disservice. It also means you have to play a bunch of like mediocre cards.
It means you have to
Homunculi
play
stuff.
vanilla, man.
Definitely. Well, no, you don't, because you can just play homunculi
Okay,
cards.
well, yeah.
This is the best case scenario. If you're playing the vanilla, then obviously it's even worse. All right, for each of your other characters, with who's this? This is Corles. He's the
This is
fastest
the
nerd.
yeah. He's
This is-
Franz
this
Master.
is-
He's Franz Master.
Yeah, it's a 2/2 10/5. If you've got a full board, and when you level up, it gains 1 cost encore.
Wait, this is straight up worse than the
the
other
more
2/2
yeah.
things that we've seen recently.
Yeah, I think that's true. Encore 1 cost encore is like rare and fun, but it's not that strong. It's fine, but it's really not that great. I think this is like a mediocre standby target, and I think that was one of the examples I gave for a D, and that is exactly what I'm going to give this, a D. No objections, it seems. Ooh. Next card, 2/2, doubling up, Jack. It's a, ooh, it gets a lot of power. So, look, for each marker, it gains 5k, which puts it at a healthy 13,500. Look at it. So the ability to get a marker is a startup. Ditch 2 cards from hand. Flip 2 cards in your level zone face down. Look at the top card of your deck and put it face down under this as a marker.
It's amazing. It doesn't even. It's not even a safe marker. It's not even a safe marker. This could have been. They should have made the markers like give less power, and just like you put 2 cards from your hand as markers. I don't know. This is like so.
Safe to print? Is that safe to print?
Is it? I think so.
An 18,500?
No, leave slightly less power per marker.
Okay,
Or
sure,
even
sure.
like, is that even that ridiculous?
I was
Come
about,
on,
that's
it's
my
like
question, right? Like, is that safe to print?
it's not even
It
that
doesn't,
ridiculous.
it doesn't sound completely unreasonable. Like, uh, I guess it just stays on field forever, right? Until it's bounced. I guess it's not safe to print because, Japan does not know how to work its way around this aside from playing 8 wind.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, as it stands, this is not a playable card. You can stand by it out, and you can do stuff with it. But if this is the way you're using your level zone, then I've got some bad news for you. Next card, I've actually forgotten this guy's name.
Black
I
Caster.
he's Golem guy. All your other characters with Master, Servant, or Keeper in name, who I assume is the guy, like
His
he's the
master.
Master, gain 500 power, and when your other the one silly thing uh becomes reversed, if this is in the back row, you may sack this. If you do, save that character. So because we gave that card an F, this card is also an F because you would not play this outside of that card being relevant.
Yes.
Um, is this? No, it's not. This is a relieved face, Astolfo.
This
It
is
looks
a
like
bond for the restander sick.
yes. I was wondering whether or not this was Jack because of all the scars. At the start of your turn,
Wow. But
field
what? You have to
attack.
look at her. You have to look at his eyes.
Oh God.
Eyes.
If
Come
I
on, dude.
if I look into his eyes, then I will become gay, and I'm not prepared for that right now.
You're just not strong enough.
No, I'm not. So at the start of your opponent's draw phase, check their top, no, reveal the top of your deck. If it's level 1 or higher, bounce back to your hand. This is like a reusable ditch out for Masters Qualification Sieg. Silly. But I think that this is like a quote unquote plus in some amount of the time.
It's a
So I really
very
can't give this I can't
sub
give this too bad a rating. Yeah,
subpar plus. Very very mediocre plus. It's like super. It's like it's such a bad card to play too. Like it's so bad. Like it's a plus, but it's like one of the worst pluses I think in the game. And, like it's one of the worst like if we're talking about like costless pluses, this is like one of the worst ones. It's like very low powered. Doesn't really do anything relevant on play.
The counterpoint is that this is like a perfectly usable card to just run into an opponent's empty field, and then some amount of the time you have quote unquote denied reverse and gotten the card back.
Sometimes that's
Like
not too good. Right.
Yeah, like
it would only be relevant if the reverse is relevant. But like
I'm only gonna call this a C, but I think more highly.
I mean, like you could probably just like run like say like you could like direct attack safely with some other big card that you don't necessarily want to risk, right? And then it'll still get the plus next turn. You'll still deny the reverse, right?
And well, that's not necessarily true. Like, I mean, I guess maybe, especially in this set, that's a possibility. But I think I'm higher on this effect than you are. I'm still only going to give it a C. I'm still only going to give it a C.
So whatever. Not.
All right.
I would not be happy to have that card in my deck.
Sure.
Probably.
Bowman Chiron. So interestingly, this is the first time we've encountered the mono blue deck cropping up. All your other blue characters gain 500 power. When it is placed from hand to stage, check 2 cards, put them back in any order. I don't think this is high impact enough to actually do anything. It informs the next 2 cards, but whatever. I'm giving this a D. Like, I don't think this does enough. Like, checking the top 2 cards is fine, but it's basically a blank otherwise. I don't think it gives anything else. And I would not play a card that said, only check the top 2, put them back in any order. You're free.
Nah, I think I can give it C. I'm still gonna give it C. Yeah,
that's fine. Like it is useful information. I just don't think it's enough. All right, changed. Vlad, he's angry. Tap this to give a character in your opponent's front row -1k for the turn. This is another. Yeah, D is where I put it. I'd actually put this as D as okay. So I put this as D simply because it is just a pump 1k to one of your characters in 95% of scenarios, and in that other 5%, like there's some split of killing an opponent's front row character and not being able to do anything because your opponent's front row is hexproof. So because 95% of its use is as a tap to give 1k, this is just the vanilla support.
And sometimes you'll kill their Kaban, and you're like, sweet. But I don't know, this is like a very... It's not even... I think, aren't these costless tap power pumps usually like 1500 power too? It's like...
Yeah, but they rate neg power higher than...
Yeah, obviously. But like, I don't think functionally it's like better. It's like functionally it's worse, probably.
Yeah, sure.
Which is why it's a... Well, I think I'd rate those a D2. There's also not like particularly amazing act startup ability synergy in this set either. So
I mean there's Shakespeare, who's
quite
powerful.
Yeah,
he
but
quite powerful.
Yeah, but I don't think that card is good. So
no, that's fair. Like at face value, he is just really powerful. It's just true.
I mean, then this guy turns that into like a what 3,000 power swing.
Yes.
Yeah. I still don't think it's not. He's not good enough to run, man.
Basis of Kantai, dude.
Kantai's way better. Kantai's way better.
Kantai sucks. In call.
Kantai's stuff isn't like it. Like, whatever. It's
Kantai's
off
sucks.
topic.
When this attacks,
better than the 1/1 Shakespeare.
That's not saying very much, buddy. When Jack attacks, you may pay cost by sacking a blue character from your stage. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a blue character, add it to your hand.
This is really cool. It's like a pseudo plus. I think this is way cooler than this shitty Astolfo. If we're talking about pluses here, like this is like a pseudo plus if your card that you're sacking would have died anyway. It's like say you're crashing something else.
Yeah, this is
really cool.
Than the Astolfo. Yeah, I think this is to put into perspective for people who aren't following, what you do is you attack with a card that like would be reversed anyway. So you run in with I don't know, a bomb or something. You can
attack with the Fran.
Yes, you can. Then you immediately get the effect. Yeah, but you have to do this effect first.
No, I think there's a check timing actually after you pay cost, right?
Between cost and effect, no.
Is there no check timing? Okay, so whatever.
No.
It's still pretty cool. It's still really cool.
I agree, it is cool, but yeah. So what it does, you attack a character that's already gonna die for a chance at plussing. So it's like in Magic terms, you're like you're stacking something that's already gonna die for value, which is pretty cool. Like, I think this is actually one of the better cards in the mono blue deck, and the only reason that deck is not a complete joke. Honestly speaking, I think
cards like this.
I'm gonna give this like a what I give this? Probably a C, because you have to go full blue. But it's really neat. I think cards like this will be, if printed in for a trait in a more powerful deck, I think would be very interesting in terms of getting played. All right. Next card.
Can I give us a C plus? Or give it a C plus?
You can give. Well, I mean, if you're in the mono blue deck, then this is the reason you play mono blue, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, give it a C plus. This is what's his name? It's the vanilla for the 1/1. It's the guy who gets turned into a golem or whatever.
D.
This is a D because it is. It's ironic that we're giving this a higher rating than the card that needs this to do anything, but that's because
this objectively is better.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. All right, next card, Homunculus. Does it have multiple arts? If not, that's totally sexist. So it's an army card. If you're 3 in the front row,
there's only 1 art.
If you have them in the back row as well, it's a 8/5. That's never a good idea. I would not recommend doing that. As a result, I think that look, there's a time and place for army cards. I don't think this army deck has nearly enough support to actually be good, and as a result, I'm going to give it an F. I would not give an F to various army decks like I guess the New Sisters deck is actually fine. The Kotori deck in Rewrite is fine, but this is not one of those decks. Not in my opinion. Alright, next card. Bridal Chests. Fran. Up to once a turn, when you use a startup effect, this gains on reverse stock charge. That's really weird. But
Oh, right.
because
This
we
is also
have,
startup synergy, I guess.
because we have the Achilles counter, this is totally reasonable. I think that in the Astolfo combo deck, this is almost certainly your secondary level 1 of choice.
I think you can run this in
Does
any
that
deck that
sound-
runs blue, right? Enough blue
Yeah,
to
you
run
can
this
run it
card.
in any. You can
This is
run it
like
in any
a
deck.
this is like a pretty solid effect. Like,
Would you go into 2 colors at level 1 just to run this?
yes, because I think you're
Only,
gonna be.
only for this.
I think you're gonna be blue in most decks regardless because of like Chiron. So might as
I'm
well.
saying only for this, ignoring Chiron.
Only for this? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, sure, that's fine.
Yeah. As long as
I think
like I
that
mean like I don't think okay, so like the thing is like yellow sucks at level 1 outside of
I think
the
I
Magro
think that's very
combo.
true. Yeah.
So if like might as well go the second color for like cards like this. I think this is good enough to go into the second color for. That's just it.
What if you're red? What if you had a theoretical
What if you're
decent
red? Yeah. There's
Okay,
enough. There's
that's
enough
all.
blue cards to fix for this. There's enough good blue cards to
That's
fix
all
for
I
this.
needed to hear.
Yeah.
That is all I needed to hear. I'm only giving this a C because it's still the secondary beta in my opinion, but that's me. You can give it whatever you want.
Let me double check something.
What did you give like the Chiron?
Like a B.
Yeah. Well, you can probably give this a B then too, right? Because you're going into a different color. It's the same as the Chiron.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems good. Alright, Inherited Heart Siegfried. When placed from hand to stage, if there is no copy of this card and you're waiting... No, wait. Heroic Spirit Black Saber? Is that the draw, Ricky? It's the draw, Ricky.
Yes, it's the draw, Ricky. Lol.
F. Yeah, it's
yeah. I think
you could conceivably play it at some stage
Let's
and have this not be rested, but this is like a terrible top deck in the late game because sometimes it's not an attacker. It's a mediocre card at level 1. Yes, it's kind of big, but I mean, if you're relying on this thing to be kind of big, I think you're looking in the wrong place. Yeah, F is where I'm putting this. I might revise that rating if there is actually a better ones, like if if there isn't a better 1065, in which case this might get like a C minus or I don't know, a D or something. But for now, F. All right, it's Darnik, big boy. Merge.
This uses this card as well as the power pump
It's the
thing.
Gurren Lagann combo, except it comes out 1 level earlier. And Gurren Lagann is the second best deck in English, dude.
Dude, that card plus is on play. This card is just a zombie.
Yeah.
2/2 zombie thing. I mean, you just merge, you put the power pump thing, and this underneath the 2/2.
So I don't know if you put zombie into the list of things at the top that people can look at, but zombie means card where if it's reversed,
oh yeah, my bad.
You're forced to clock it, 1 card from the top of your deck, and then you rest it. So it just comes back, continually taking pain every time.
Yeah, I'll add that later. But I think this is fine. It's just like you're running so much crap. It's like the typical trade-off for merge engines, right? Basically, you have to ask yourself, is it worth spending like 12 slots on the ability to summon this 2/2 thing, this big 2/2 fatty at level 1?
It usually isn't.
It usually isn't, but it is big. It is really big.
Sure.
Like, that is something that is just, like, has to be mentioned. It's, like, enormously. It's, like, never getting reverse level 1, basically.
Yeah, but level 2, it's now fair game.
Yeah. Oh, what the other thing that's interesting is that they'll never lose the markers.
Mm, yeah, that is interesting. I mean,
Uh,
if they just like if they
if
change.
they wind it, yeah. And then like the awful case is if it gets removed somehow, where if it's like removed from the board or just winded or something, that
Mhm.
really sucks. Unfortunately, I think even in English, you know, there's a lot of wins
Yeah,
going around.
don't. There are. I think there's more wins in English than there are
Yeah,
in Japanese.
but
So don't do
I
it.
think this is like a okay. I think it's like okay. I think I would grade all of these cards at like a C.
I'm giving this a D plus
I think it's I think. Oh, oops, my bad.
because if you put this into deck, you're doing this every game, right?
Yeah, C plus.
Literally every
Let's
game.
go.
Okay, sure, seems good. Just
Yeah.
remember, C plus doesn't actually make it better than a C. It
No.
just means you're going
Yeah,
to
it's
use
just
it
like
more
it
often.
just happens. You got to come up with a better thing for
I
that.
do.
People
I
are gonna
do.
get
I really
confused
do.
when they see that.
I'm already confused, so I will correct that at some point in the near future. All right. So
C
next
squared.
card, C squared. Um, I don't know her name. Selenike.
Selenike, Ice Cole. That's definitely not how you pronounce it, but you
Ice
know.
core. Okay, so if there are four more cards in your opponent's clock, this gains plus 10k.
What the fuck?
So that's because she's a sadist, I believe.
You know the sick. Your opponent sees this card. They're at two. They're at like 2-3 or something, and they're like,
I would. I think that this is like
"I'm not
a very
clocking
good.
this turn."
This is a very good assassin profile. If your opponent's early plays don't heal, but
Or if
there's
it's a
no
clocking.
reason
Oh
why
no!
that would.
Look, they're at 2-3, and then it's a clocking early play. Deep like an early play thing, and they're like, "Oh shit! I can't clock, or else we'll just die."
Oh,
Yeah, they see this card. Okay. Notably, this will also lose the power if they're 2-6 or something, which kind of
uh,
sucks.
yes. Uh, so just to reiterate, if they're at 2-3 and you attack with this and the damage sticks, she will be a 13k when damage is calculated. She also has a second effect. Come to play, pay 1, flip a card face down, command seal, give a servant 4k, and this cannot side attack. So,
Wow.
uh, I mean, the flavor is she
Only
forced it
one
on
of your
Astolfo, right?
other.
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
she's not a servant,
She
so
forces Astolfo to engage.
yeah, to ram himself into his enemy. This is probably not very good. I I think it's an interesting card to think about, but it's like less practical than any other gimmick card that has ever seen play. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a D minus.
D minus. Yeah. Yeah. Ah. Nah. I
I'm
think.
not
I
paying.
think
I'm not paying two and ditching one just to give 4k to something.
that's probably true. Actually. Yeah. Okay.
All right, next card. Oh
La
God,
Black
really?
Luna. It's his. Is
Yeah,
it his noble phantasm?
it's one of his noble phantasms. This guy has like six or something.
What's what?
Oh, it's because he's retarded but insanely lucky. So
I'm a
he
secondary.
just keeps collecting all this garbage. His main noble phantasm is his hippogriff, and that's how it is in
Oh.
Fate Grand Order as well. But he just has a bunch of other shit as well. So if you don't have an Astolfo, you can't play this from hand. Ditch an additional card from hand to waiting room. If you do, neg 1/5 all of your opponent's characters. So this will kill most brainstorms and some number of supports. Otherwise, this is a terrible card, and I really don't know why anyone would want to play this outside of a Astolfo waifu deck, because he is definitely sucking hard on whatever it is that is. I know it's a horn, but that doesn't mean I can't call everyone gay for playing this. Alright, next card. Entrusted Shield. This is the anti-damage, and it's relatively flavorful. So like this, Astolfo gets his shield from Achilles, gets this shield from Achilles, which is yet another noble phantasm, because he just keeps getting them. This is just anti-damage, but gives something 1/5 for the turn as well. That is most definitely not worth the additional 1 cost as compared to the DC and LB events. But it is still anti-damage, so I uh, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and call this a B minus because it's gonna be great when you play it, but you're not gonna play it every game.
That's what I was thinking too. All right.
Yeah, it is just a strong effect, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's smash our way through yellow.